eCast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of eCast. On today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is a little freestyle thing, no script or anything. I'm just going to be looking at the trades that have gone down, the signings this offseason in the NFL, and let you know my take on it. Was it a good trade? Did they spend too much money? Grade the signing. Did they spend too much money? You know what I'm saying there. So let's just get straight into it. The first big signing that went down this offseason was Trent Brown to the Raiders. This kind of confused me in many ways as he now has become the highest paid blindside protector in history. Offensive tackle who formerly on the Patriots, now on the Raiders. His contract is 4 years, $66 million, and he's guaranteed 36 of that million. Now this would make a little bit of sense if he had been an amazing offensive tackle, but the weird thing is he had like an average year. It seems to me like the Raiders just doing more stuff that's going to keep them down. This seems like why bad teams stay bad. What's the plan here? Why get rid of Khalil Mack and sign someone like this? I don't really understand this signing, and I'm going to grade it a D because I just don't know where their head's at with that signing. It's very strange. They seem to be in rebuild mode, and now they're spending tons on not young players. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, next we had Nick Foles to the Jaguars. A lot of people saw this coming, and you can't really blame the Jaguars or Nick Foles or the Eagles for this situation. It's kind of it just makes sense to me. Nick Foles, he's 30. His contract is $88 million. $50 million of that is guaranteed. The Jaguars are getting him at a pretty good price. It seems like a lot, but for a quarterback, it's not a bad price. The weird thing is that he's 30, and I don't know if a 4-year deal, I don't know if he's going to last that long. I think he's going to run into some trouble because I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I think he's more of an average quarterback, and I don't think that this price is really fair for him, even though it seems like it is. I feel like drafting a quarterback for the Jaguars would have been a better move with their pick, but at the same time, they could draft and develop, so it's not a terrible thing. The Eagles couldn't hold on to him anymore. You can't pay a backup that much. They had to make a decision because there's a lot of tension with Carson Wentz, who's going to start, stuff like that. They went with the young guy. Makes sense. I understand why the Jaguars did it because, of course, they have a lack at the quarterback position last year with Blake Bortles. So I'm just going to give that a B because it's solid. It's not the best move, I don't think, but it could be worse. Next came kind of a surprising one, but you could also see it coming in many ways, which was Landon Collins heading over to the Redskins. 6-year deal for $84 million, which is pretty massive. I don't really understand why the Giants would let him go after what happened with Odell, which we'll get into later, I really don't understand where the Giants are going right now. But a young safety who's pretty good. He's not a top 5 safety or anything, so it seems like a pretty high price to pay. It's not a good signing to me. I don't know why the Redskins would pay so much, and I don't know why the Giants would let him go so easily. They could have franchise tagged him. I think a lot of people thought they were going to do that. I guess from this one I'll have to give it a C because I don't think it really helps anyone. But the Landon Collins situation is pretty complicated anyway, so I don't know. It's hard to say. Okay, this signing really excited me when I saw it, even though I'm a Niner fan. The Chiefs are just getting really good. Tyrann Mathieu, now Chiefs safety, formerly on the Texans, 26 years old, $42 million contract for 3 years, and they did not disclose the guaranteed. It doesn't seem like a bad deal when you look at it. It seems like an amazing deal, of course, because they're just adding stars on stars. But I think they went a little bit above the value to go for him. I'm looking at a statistic that says his career best value is $6 million, and his average career value is about $4 million, and they're paying about, let's see, quick math here, about like $16 million a year for him. The average cap hit is $14 million actually. It's a lot of money, but I don't know if it's well spent for the position they have to fill. I think there's other safeties they could have gone after, but it is a big name that's going to bring more attention and hopefully a leader to their defense, which lacked a lot of leadership. And then they got rid of one player in their defense, which, again, we'll get into that later, but I'm happy he came to my Niners. So I guess I'm kind of having mixed feelings on this. I keep changing my mind. I like it because it's a big name and the Chiefs just seem like a super team right now, but I think it's a little bit of a facade. I think it seems a little better than it really is. And we had some cornerback signings, nothing of too much note. Danny Amendola to the Lions. I mean, I don't think that's really relevant. I guess to replace Golden Tate. It makes sense to replace Golden Tate on one hand, but on the other hand, I don't see why they didn't just keep Golden Tate. They just basically got a much worse version of Golden Tate. I mean, he gives them about like 50, 70% of what Golden Tate gave him. It's a perfect deal, like money wise. I just don't. It. I guess I'll give it a B because of the fact that it's better than what they had before, but there was no reason for them to put themselves in this tough position that they are now. That I don't know how much sense that made, but that's the best I can do on that one. Jameson Crowder, wide receiver, used to be on the Redskins. Now he's going to the Jets on a pretty decently large contract, $28 million for 3 years. It's not too bad based on his average value. And if he can stay healthy, it looks like this would be a pretty good trade for them. They've added a lot of weapons. Obviously, they added Le'Veon Bell earlier today, so that was good. Well, actually, I don't think that was good. But anyways, they've added a lot of offensive weapons. Hopefully, Sam Darnold can get a little better of those. I give that about a C. Devin Funchess goes to the Colts for 1 year, $10 million. It's not terrible. It's a lot to pay for a player like him who seems like they've underachieved on their career, but on one hand, he's young. He seems good. He seems like a solid number 2 wide receiver, and he's pretty. I mean, obviously he's huge, so he's a red zone threat. I don't think it's a bad move for the Colts, but I don't think it's a great move. I think it's about like a C plus B area. Adam Humphries goes to the Titans. I'm not sure why Tampa Bay wasn't interested in re-signing him because I think he was a pretty good asset on their team. But I think that for the amount of money they gave him, $36 million and a 4-year contract, he's 25. I think he's most likely gonna be worth that value because I think he's actually pretty talented and he plays his role very well. Okay, here comes my first exciting signing that I witnessed. Quan Alexander to the Niners, my 49ers, on a 4-year, $54 million deal. Yeah, I was excited, and not anymore. When I looked into it, I knew from a couple years ago, Pro Bowler, that's awesome, but he's coming off an ACL injury, and we paid an incredible amount for him for someone who's coming off an ACL injury. The past 2 years, he was a Pro Bowler in 2017, but he hasn't been too good the past 2 years. I've seen a lot of people say he could be a top 5 running back, but top 5 linebacker, but if I'm very honest, I don't think it was the best signing. I think we could have spent our money better elsewhere. I see what we're trying to do, add playmakers to our defense. I just don't know if this was the best place to spend it. I guess I'd give it a C because it's a big name, probably bring a leader, and he's young. It's just he's had so many injury issues, and even when he has stayed on the field, he's been underwhelming at times. Mike Davis to the Bears for $6 million. That does not. I don't even need to go into that because that doesn't matter. This one's just funny to me. Frank Gore gets another contract, staying in the NFL at age 36 at the running back position. I don't know how that's happening. He's going to back up LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy's super injury prone. Frank Gore is eternal. So, I mean, it's a good signing for the Bills. It's also pretty irrelevant. It's a $2 million contract. There's not that much to say. Malik Jackson signed with the Eagles. And I think that was a really good signing because he's 29. A 3-year, $30 million deal is not a big price to pay. I'm looking at the real market values again, and it says in 2015, which was his best, he was worth $10.9 million, and they paid about $10 million for him, which is actually a good trade. And I think that because he's still relatively young and very talented, it brings another asset to the already strong Eagles defense. I like that pickup. Let's see what else we have here. Well, I guess I can go into the big trade now. Antonio Brown traded to the Raiders for just a 3rd and a 5th round pick. I might have to go into a bit of a rant here because when I saw this, I was the only thing I can describe it as shocked.
ECAST